If there isn't discipline, how can there be a true realization of an ideal? Miyamoto Musashi. My friends, discipline, the only discipline we ask from you is 10 to 15 minutes each and every day following these stock charts. Practice trading them when the opportunities present themselves. When you're ready to get serious, of course, like our Patreon members are, I just sent out 20 weekly vertical crossovers. This week, the majority of the crossovers are down, large majority. There are only 4 crossovers going up on the entire S&P. We sent you those, and then we picked through and tried to find the best 16 down weekly vertical crossovers for you to take a look at. Backtrack, practice, trade. Patreon members, check it out. Don't forget, my friends, all of you are Patreon members or who want to become one, next Wednesday, we have our live Q&A session. As always, it's the first Wednesday of every month. It is June the 2nd. So we appreciate you being with us. We know that you will be standing in line to get there. And those of you who can't join us, we always endeavor to record that and email it out to you just about the time it gets over. I'm downloading it and then uploading it, getting it out to you. So again, you got questions, you have issues, you have stocks or ETFs you want us to help you backtrack and get some idea for how good candidates they might be for practice trading. Absolutely. Go ahead and email those to us, cw@chartingwealth.com. Let's jump into these charts. We see a down day pretty much, well, not much of a day. Let's just put it that way. The S&P up a little bit, 0.03. Nasdaq 100 down 0.38, bonds down 0.41, gold up 0.04. These are small little bitty moves going into the Memorial Day weekend. Bitcoin was up 2.17%, but again, all that downward pressure still on Bitcoin. Let's first jump into the S&P 500, and as always, we start with the weekly. Remember, you start with your big chart, go down to the smaller intraday chart through the intermediate 2-day. So what do we see going on? Well, we have an up week that is forming, pushing above a very half-ass weekly trend line. Price percent oscillator, however, is still trying to pull away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. So even though we see a green Heiken Ashi candlestick, it is a little one. And of course, the problem that we continue to see, though, is the derivative oscillator still positive. It is losing momentum. It's not a big problem, but we like in moves that typically work well, we like to see our weekly vertical crossover occur at the same time that the price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator go over at the same time, one way or the other. So we do have a bit of an up week forming, but that all-important price percent oscillator, the overall overlay of the market, is still downward pressure. Look at the 2-day price percent oscillator about flat. Now, of course, this is the first day of the latest 2-day candle. It will finish drawing on Friday. And again, it is not really reaching much of a higher high, just in a much smaller candle. But again, that movement is still up on the Heiken Ashi candlesticks, but not enough energy. Check that out to have the price percent oscillator cross over the red signal line and the derivative oscillator still negative. So again, not a lot of mood at this point for a lot of up movement in the S&P. We look at the half-day chart, and that's where we can see that sideways slide that's been going on since things really popped up in the morning on the 24th of May, and just sort of sliding sideways since then. You can see that on the price percent oscillator at the end of the day, flat. Derivative oscillator still positive, but losing momentum since it peaked back on the morning of Tuesday, the 25th. So that's where we are on the S&P. Lackadaisical, again, overlay of downward pressure. We go to the Qs, 0.38% down for the day. And again, a small green candle below, well, again, a very poor trend line. Can we draw a better one? Let's zoom in a little bit See if we can draw a little bit better trend line. There we go. We can see where it has penetrated it. Price percent oscillator, though, still heading down. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Lots of up movement that's been lost. And, of course, a small green candle with a wick on the bottom also. So, again, downward pressure still there with some attempt to move up. We see so far a slowdown in the up movement. This latest 2-day candle, first day of the latest 2-day candle, is a red open box candle. That means a slowdown in the up movement. Price percent oscillator, not enough energy to cross over going up yet. And of course, the derivative oscillator has pretty much disappeared. Looks like it might be getting ready to go green. We'll see how this candle finishes up on Friday. We look at the half day, and again, sort of similar. A little bit stronger, but similar to the S&P, where things moved up and then sort of started retreating on Thursday. Price percent oscillator still positive, about flat, and derivative oscillator positive, losing upward momentum. That's where we are on stocks. Again, the overlay, still downward pressure on the Qs and the S&P 500. And of course, you will see that if you were like me and you went through the S&P today and looked at all the weekly vertical crossovers, large majority of them down. So let's look at bonds at this point, down 0.41%. And again, what have bonds been doing? Just sort of sliding sideways over the last many weeks. We had that crossover going up back on the week ending the 30th of April. Up a little that next week, down the following 2 weeks, and gaining a little bit this week. Price percent oscillator, though, has stayed positive. Derivative oscillator has too. We go to the 2-day chart, and of course we can see where the 2-day price percent oscillator bounced off the red signal line. Derivative oscillator positive, gaining momentum. The latest, first day of the latest 2-day candle, red open box spinning top. Slow down mightily in the up movement is what that's showing us. And of course, we look at the half-day chart, still positive even after a drop in the morning and a little bit of a comeuppance in the afternoon, still down for the day, 0.41%. So we'll see how these markets, move through after we get through the Memorial Day holiday and we get on into the summer. Remember, it wasn't this way last summer, but all the summers previous to that I've ever been in the market for years and years, summertime stinks. It's called the summertime trading zone. A lot of the volume goes out. People go on vacation. Big traders are away, and the market just sort of is in a lull, just sort of in a range. It moves back and forth. There's not a lot of volume, and it's just a crappy time to trade, typically. Last year, not that way. We'll see how this shapes up as we go into it. Remember that old adage, sell in May, go away, live to trade another day. We're going to leave bonds, go to gold, up for the day, 0.04%. And again, let's start with the weekly. We can see a nice green up candle for the weekly. Gold has been good to us since that weekly vertical crossover back on the week ending the 23rd of April. Little lackadaisical that second week, and since then, just moving up beautifully. Price percent oscillator, derivative oscillator. We look at the 2-day chart, and we can see some weakening there, not hitting a higher high. The high 177.82, the prior high 178.61. So again, just not looking that great. Trying to see if I can draw us a better trend line, but we see the price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator losing a little bit of momentum. And of course, you can see that on the intraday chart where things peaked most recently back on the morning of Wednesday, the 26th of May, and then sort of devolving in the afternoon and then in the morning on Thursday, going through that half-day trend line, crossing over, going down in the morning on Thursday. But again, that's our smallest chart. We'll continue to watch, see how that goes. Lastly, we go to Bitcoin, up for the day 2.17%. Look at the weekly chart first. Has it changed anything on that weekly? No. Lots of downward pressure, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum, price percent oscillator heading down. Red down candle. The only good news, didn't hit a lower low this week, We go to the 2-day. You can see where, again, it shaved off a little bit of that downward momentum on the price percent oscillator. Derivative oscillator lost a little bit of momentum. And we have a green, solid green. Now, that is a slowdown in the down movement. Hadn't hit a lower low, so that's good. We look at the half-day, and we can see where things bottomed back on Wednesday, the 19th of May. Popped up a little bit, then back down, and is sort of trying to gain a little momentum, little up in the afternoon, and a little up for the day on Thursday. Price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator staying green, but that's the smallest chart. The overhang still down. That's where we are, folks, as we end the day. If you want to be a Patreon member, check out the links in the show notes. And if you're not getting our show notes, that is our email every day with our weekly market worksheet, trade worksheet, daily market worksheet, all of the links to everything, the book, all that stuff, then just go to chartingwealth.com, sign up for free. Plus you get a special training every day. We have a special training for you today, for you subscribers. And again, this is free. It's a great one. Backtracking, using stock charts to find trading patterns. Extremely important to understand. Not all charts work. And being able to find weekly vertical crossovers that work again and again and again. When you find a magic chart where that occurs, my friends, what is that like? That's like printing money in your practice trades. That's what you want to find. That's what you want to practice. That's what you want to do with your favorite stocks and ETFs. See if they are backtrackable. And if they are, will that continue in the future? Many, many, many times it will. And it will until it doesn't. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.